of a private boat. Could you deal with that, being underwater like that?
Oh, I think I'd love that.
That's spectacular.
Yeah.
One of a kind. It is amazing. All right, that's our time for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow. News 3 at 5 starts right after this. Right now at 5, candidates are making their final push before the polls open tomorrow in the general election. We'll have team coverage.
Plus, we're learning more about the driver involved in a fatal crash that killed 3 Girl Scouts in northwestern Wisconsin.
And a new expansion of an adolescent center at Unity Point Health is underway. We'll tell you what the facility will include.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3. We're now just 14 hours away from the polls opening in Wisconsin.
Candidates are using these final hours to urge their supporters to cast their ballots tomorrow. We have team coverage as the candidates are making their final push before Election Day, and we begin with our Rose Schmidt, who joins us live from the Majestic Theater where the Democrats are rallying tonight. Rose?
Well, Democrats here in Wisconsin are hoping that voters in Wisconsin are fed up with the Republicans who have been in control over the last 8 years here in our state, and that energy will drive them to the polls tomorrow. Tony Evers and Tammy Baldwin are set to speak here in about 20 minutes or so. They've been traveling all around the state today, making stops in Janesville, Beloit, and Whitewater. Today, they thanked people across the state who voted early and hope the outcome of one of the most closely watched governor's races across the country ends up in their favor tomorrow.
I know many of you voted and you have good friends and neighbors. I'm sure you know someone that doesn't vote regularly. Just give them a call and ask. People want to be asked. You know what? And they may say, well, I don't know who to vote for. And you can say, Tony Evers.
Evers is touting his record in education and showing his contrasts against Scott Walker when it comes to health care and transportation funding. And Evers has been traveling across the state of Wisconsin ever since he won the primary back in August. And now tonight he's ending up back in his home here in Madison. And tonight he's actually celebrating his birthday. He turns 67 today.
Rose Schmidt reporting live from the Majestic Theater. Rose, thank you.
And Republicans will be holding their own rally later tonight and are hitting spots all across the state in a last-minute campaign frenzy.
Our chief political reporter, Jessica Arp, has been following the top of the ticket Republican candidates for their final messages to voters. Jess?
Well, given this dead heat race, motivating every voter to get to the polls is going to be key for both parties. And Republicans spent time in both swing and base parts of the state for them. Governor Scott Walker starting his day in La Crosse, then heading to Eau Claire, Superior, Schofield, and De Pere. State Senator Leah Vukmir, who is running for U.S. Senate, hitting GOP field offices in Green Bay, Wausau, and La Crosse. Walker and Vukmir agree this is a major last-minute effort to target their base and anyone that's left undecided.
We get some people who are longtime activists. It's getting them energized to keep making those last-minute phone calls and knocking on doors and talking to neighbors. To others at places like this, it's literally talking to voters who work here who may still be up in the air.
We know that getting out the vote is ultimately what will make a difference, and our base is energized, and we are just encouraging people to look at where they were 2 years ago, 8 years ago, who are the people that made those differences.
Have them graduated,
Now, Governor Walker both on offense and defense today on some pretty specific issues in this race. He's been trying to make the case that he intends to make sure pre-existing conditions would be covered under his administration, saying last week for the first time that he'd adopt Affordable Care Act language in state law to do so. He's also pushing back on Tony Evers, saying he won't raise any taxes, saying eliminating any part of the state's manufacturing and ag tax credit on high-income earners would be a tax increase.
All right, Jessica Arp in our news center. Jessica, thank you.
Wisconsin has broken the state record for absentee ballots submitted during a midterm election. The Wisconsin Elections Commission says with more than 547,000 absentee ballots already turned in before Election Day, the state has overtaken the 2014 record of a little more than 374,000. That is a difference of more than 170,000 ballots. In a midterm election, overall turnout typically ranges from 50 to 55% compared to 65 to 70% in a presidential election.
And the Wisconsin Election Commission wants you to know that your vote is secure ahead of the midterms. After the federal government awarded the state nearly $7 million in grants, the Elections Commission was able to increase security. They were able to add more staff, purchase some software, and provide more training to clerks and poll workers. Officials say there are a lot of human-driven processes that protect the election. It first goes through your municipal board of canvass, and then your county board of canvass, and then to the state, which actually certifies those results before they become official.
All three of those steps are actually public processes where you can go and observe exactly what goes into certifying the totals of the election.
Now, with the help of that grant, the Elections Commission was able to add 6 new positions specifically focused on all things security come tomorrow. The governor has also activated the National Guard to assist election officials if needed tomorrow.
Make News 3 your election night destination for the fastest results and analysis at 7 o'clock on WISC. CBS News will begin its national coverage. We'll break in here with live local updates all night. Starting at 8 o'clock, you can watch continuous live local uninterrupted coverage on all of our digital platforms, Channel 3000, Facebook, and YouTube. At 9 o'clock, our local coverage will be available on Fox 47. And at 10 o'clock, join us on WISC for our election night coverage.
And both parties are urging people to get out and vote, right? We want the weather to cooperate. Dana Fulton, a little pressure on you here. It's got to be, you know, good, but tomorrow's not looking too good.
Unfortunately, no. Anyone trying to get out early to vote, no need to stay home. We're not telling you that. What we're just saying is maybe grab the umbrella as you're heading on out the door, because we had a break in the showers throughout much of the day today with a cloudy sky. Unfortunately, just in the last hour, that rain moving back in. Here's a look at our Doppler track over the last 3 hours. Taking a little closer look at home right now. We have some heavier rainfall starting to enter into parts of Dane County right now, Rock and Greene County included in that. And that rainfall is expected to continue. Again, those heavier portions right in between Janesville and Madison, where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall currently. No lightning associated with it, no thunderstorm threat for us tonight, but we are going to continue to see these showers overnight and into tomorrow morning. Because of that shower chance, we do have an alert day in the forecast as we head into our election day for Tuesday. Temperatures right now are in the mid-40s. We aren't going to move around all too much as it is so cloudy outside. About 46 in Janesville and in Madison compared to this time yesterday. That is just a little cooler. And we have a big cool down as we head towards the end of the week. A bit of a breezy evening on the way as well. Our wind speeds will stay close to about 10 miles per hour for much of the area, peaking a little more towards Monroe right now at 16, coming from the southeast. Here's a quick look at what we are expecting for Tuesday. Again, showers in the morning, throughout the rest of the afternoon, though, just clouds. We aren't looking at a washed out of a day. We'll break down that timing a little more and look at the week ahead in just a few minutes.
All right, Dana, thank you. Police say the 21-year-old driver accused of striking and killing 3 Girl Scouts and a mother and injuring a 4th girl had been inhaling chemical vapors before that crash in northwestern Wisconsin. 21-year-old Colton True is being held on $250,000 bond while he faces charges of vehicular homicide. Authorities are recommending 13 charges against him, including 4 counts of homicide by intoxicated use of a motor vehicle. Lake Hallie, Wisconsin police say True and a passenger in his pickup truck told police they had been intentionally inhaling those vapors or huffing just before the crash about 11:30 Saturday morning. Authorities identify the girls killed as 9-year-old Jana Kelly and 10-year-old Autumn Helgeson, both of Lake Hallie, and 10-year-old Haley Hickel from the town of Lafayette. Hickel's mother, 32-year-old Sarah Jo Schneider, was also killed. The victims were picking up trash in the ditches of County Highway P when they were hit.
Authorities say a 10-year-old girl has been detained in the death of an infant in northwestern Wisconsin. The Chippewa County Sheriff says the girl is in juvenile custody. The Sheriff's Department got a call Tuesday from a caretaker at a daycare in the town of Wheaton. The caller said a 6-month-old baby boy was bleeding from the head and was unresponsive. The infant was pronounced dead at a hospital in St. Paul, Minnesota. The girl told police she hurt the infant. The girl appeared in Chippewa County Court today. Cash bond was set at $50,000.
Officials have identified the woman who was killed when she was hit by a truck while walking in Beloit last night. Police there say 47-year-old April Guthrie was walking a dog across the street shortly before 5 p.m. when she was hit by a pickup truck. Guthrie taken to Beloit Memorial Hospital where she died from her injuries. The dog was taken to veterinary emergency services with life-threatening injuries. The driver of the pickup truck, a 56-year-old Verona man, is fully cooperating with authorities. Police say it does not appear the driver was at fault. The crash remains under investigation.
It's been about 7 months since firefighter-paramedic Richard Garner died unexpectedly in the line of duty. According to officials with Madison Fire, Garner died of a heart attack within 24 hours after a 48-hour shift. They say they had not made any connection between the death and department practices.
At the end of the day, we have a firefighter that was well-liked in the community and well-liked in the organization, and he's gone, and we still don't necessarily know why, because we don't have any real solid proof or facts on why.
Officials say they are evaluating their fitness and job evaluations, and that the National Institute for Occupation Safety and Health will also take a look at Garner's case.
A new expansion of Adolescence Center at Unity Point Health is underway. A groundbreaking celebration was held today for the expansion of the Unity Point Health Meritor Child and Adolescent Psychiatry Hospital and new outpatient center today. Child and adolescent psychiatry provides care for young people ages 6 through 18 with severe behavioral health challenges. This project will add more patient rooms, new indoor and outdoor therapy spaces, upgrade current facilities, and also provide intensive day treatment programs.
This campus will be a place that kids, families, providers, and educators can all come heal, support one another, and learn.
And by 2020, Meritor expects to increase the number of children served in the inpatient unit from 800 to 1,400, plus 3,000 new day treatment visits every year.
There's more to come tonight at 5. When we come back, a local business owner says he paid a contractor thousands of dollars to do renovations, but they were never completed. The details next.
And on Wall Street, mixed results to start the week. A bump for the Dow, up 191 points. The Nasdaq gave back 28. The S&P added 15. We'll be right back. A local business owner is seeking some justice after he says he paid a contractor more than $21,000 to do renovations, but the work was never fully completed and is now refusing to give the money back.
Jamie Perez spoke with the owner of Silver Lining Taekwondo this afternoon. She has his story, plus what happened when we tried to get the contractor side of the issue as well.
He would come in the evening just to do a little bit to let us know that he was here. So when we came in, but there was no real progress being made.
Macham Mbo is the owner of Silver Lining Taekwondo. This is the same man who we interviewed about the $100,000 worth of damage lost in this summer's flood at his Middleton location. He says he hired a man named Arturo Garza with Guadalupe Enterprises LLC to do some renovations on his East Side location about a year ago. Macham says Arturo asked for $21,000 down payment, but after weeks of sitting on incomplete work, Macham says Arturo refuses to give the money back.
At this point, for me, there's a good chance I will not see that money back.
Macham said what you see in these photos is as far as Arturo got in his work.
That was it, and that's what he claims is worth $26,000.
He said Arturo came up with reasons every week as to why he couldn't get the work done.
Every week he would say, next week, next week, next week, I will get the permit, next week I will get the permit. And then he would always come back with some kind of excuse why the city would not give him the permit.
Macham says he took matters into his own hands and got approval from the city. He says Arturo promised he would have the work done over that weekend. Macham came back and said it looked like nothing had been touched.
Was to just build these couple of few walls and repaint. That was it. And naturally, that didn't get done.
We called Arturo this afternoon, but he told us he didn't have comment and then hung up on us. According to the Better Business Bureau, there have been no complaints other than Macham since the business started up in 2017. The company has an A- rating online, and they are not accredited.
So we took his word for it, because he's the contractor, so to our mind, he knew what he was talking about.
Madison police say they can't help Macham and are simply advising him to file a civil suit.
This was not a criminal act because I personally handed him the check.
Macham says at this point, even if he never sees his money back, he wants to prevent this from happening to others.
You got to be out of your mind. Yeah, and then he says, I'll see you in court. And I said, okay, I'll see you in court.
In Madison, Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
Macham says he ended up hiring another contractor to complete the renovations just days before his grand opening in October of last year. He says he is working with his attorneys to file a civil lawsuit against Arturo and Guadalupe Enterprises, LLC.
We turn now to weather and the all-important Election Day forecast. More details now. Meteorologist Dana Fulton on the backyard patio. Dana?
If you're heading out to vote early in the morning, guys, this is probably what you're going to be wearing. A jacket and an umbrella is certainly necessary because these showers that are coming in right now will be lingering with us as we head into tomorrow morning. Looking at our radar, you can see them moving in just in the last few hours. We had a little bit of a dry spell today, actually. Cloudy, but dry for much of the day, and now we have the heavier rainfall starting to move right into Dane County, as well as parts of Rock and Greene County, and we're going to continue to have these light showers with moments of heavier rain mixed on in overnight. No thunderstorm potential for us. And the last 24 hours, our precipitation has just built on in for us. Looking to the western side of the state, that's where we see our higher totals, anywhere from about 1 inch to 1.5 inches for parts along the western side of the state. But the further east you go, the smaller those numbers get, just less than 1/2 inch for much of the area near Milwaukee, also near Janesville, just about 1/2 inch there. Currently sitting close to 46 in Madison and in Janesville, about 45 in Mineral Point. So we really didn't warm up much today, and we won't cool down much either because it is so cloudy outside. Our wind coming from the southeast right now at about 10 miles per hour for us in Madison, closer to 8 in Janesville. So we are going to plan on continuing to see that breeze stay roughly right around 10 miles per hour for us overnight. A little breezy outside, but it won't be too bad. Won't get too gusty until we get into tomorrow afternoon. Gusty for us today. We saw peak wind gusts close to 28 miles per hour in Madison and 25 in Monroe. Those peak wind gusts holding pretty steady for us, as I mentioned, for tomorrow afternoon. Overall, those rain chances are going to continue to slide on in. Our next chance for showers.
Stay with Had some mic issues with Dana. We'll go back for her complete forecast in just a few moments. New details are emerging about the gunman who killed 2 people and left 6 others injured at a yoga studio in Tallahassee.
40-year-old Scott Beerley opened fire at a Florida yoga studio Friday night. He had a history of violence toward young women. Court records show he was charged with battery in 2016 after he allegedly slapped and grabbed a woman at a pool. And he faced another battery charge for grabbing a woman in a campus dining hall. Police say he posed as a customer to gain entry into the studio before he started shooting without warning. He shot 4 more people and pistol whipped a man before he turned the gun on himself. Police say they are still investigating Beerley's motive.
The body of a Utah mayor is set to arrive tonight at Dover Air Force Base. 39-year-old Brent Taylor, the mayor of North Ogden, Utah, was on his second tour in Afghanistan when he was killed in an attack over the weekend. The Utah National Guard says Taylor was a decorated military intelligence officer with Joint Force Headquarters. He had earned a Purple Heart and Bronze Star during previous tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Officials say Taylor was shot and killed by an Afghan trainee on Saturday. He leaves behind his wife and 7 children, ranging in age from 10 months to 13 years old.
My heart bleeds for those kids. I just can't imagine what they're going to go through.
He was the personification of love of God, family, and country.
Taylor is the 3rd American now to be killed in what are known as insider attacks in Afghanistan since July.
The Trump administration's new sanctions on Iran have taken effect, but 8 major importers of Iranian oil are being spared from immediate penalties. The sanctions target Iran's energy, financial, and shipping sectors and are aimed at crippling the country's economy following President Trump's withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear deal. But as the administration seeks to cut off Iran's oil revenue, it will allow some of its closest allies and rival China to continue to purchase Iranian oil as long as it works to reduce imports to 0. Besides China, Greece, India, Italy, Turkey, South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, they all get U.S. sanctions waivers for Iran oil imports.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, we have correspondents spread across the country, including in Florida, Indiana, Texas, and Arizona, with the latest on early voting numbers before the midterms. And we will remember a father and former mayor of a Utah town whose life was taken in Afghanistan over the weekend. That is tonight on the CBS Evening News.
After a cloudy and mostly dry day, the showers are building back in for us. Just in the last few hours, we watched those rain showers move right into southern Wisconsin. The heavier rainfall right now, right at the edge of Dane County. So if you're getting ready to step out the door, certainly going to need the umbrella tonight. And that trend, of course, going to carry into tomorrow morning for the beginning of Election Day. The last 24 hours to the western side of the state, that's where we've seen our highest accumulation totals. Those numbers decreasing as you travel east, closer to Milwaukee, picking up just about a half of an inch. You go to the other side of the state, though, on the western edge and parts of Grant County, closer to about an inch and a half, though, with isolated areas picking up just a little more. Currently sitting close to 46 in Madison, and the same goes in Janesville, about 44 right now in Monroe. We really didn't warm up too much today, and we aren't going to cool down much either overnight with that cloud deck overhead. It's going to stay a little breezy, though. That wind coming from the southeast right now at about 10 miles per hour in Madison after a gusty afternoon. Our peak wind gusts in the last 24 hours in the 20s. Yesterday, we were talking in the 30s, so we're decreasing a little bit. Tomorrow, though, we're looking at another day with some gusty conditions. That rainfall that we had yesterday, that front now well to the east, we're looking at our next system now that is pushing all this rain that we'll experience overnight and for Tuesday morning. It's expected to slide on through just over the next 24 hours or so. So not a long event, but yes, we are going to have rain tonight. And if you're heading to the polls early tomorrow, do plan on those showers early in the day. May see some heavier rainfall at times, or at least hear it while you're headed to bed, but not expecting any thunderstorms. By tomorrow around noon, the rain's almost completely out of here. A few isolated showers, clouds lingering overnight, and then conditions staying cloudy, but not nearly as rainy for us as we head into Wednesday. Wednesday, we're just talking about a variably cloudy sky. Overall, we're just going to add on just about a quarter of an inch. From isolated areas may pick up another half of an inch overnight. Because of the rain chances, though, we do have an alert day in the forecast for tomorrow. The rain chances will continue to diminish. It's going to be a little windy and chilly, though. Right now, cloudy and rainy for us. Temperatures today climbing close to average. About 48 are high for this afternoon, starting the day off right where we should in the low 30s. Overnight lows will drop just a few more degrees to about 42 to start off tomorrow. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with those showers wrapping up. 46 in the afternoon. And as we look at the bigger picture for what's ahead through the next 7 to 10 days, do plan actually on tomorrow being the warmest day of the week by far. A big cool down is ahead for the weekend.
So if you're going to the polls tomorrow, you know, an umbrella or a raincoat, good to have.
Early in the morning, yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
But as the day goes on, it should be a little bit better.
It should be much better. We're not going to look at those rain chances later on in the evening. It'll just be cloudy out for us later on in the day.
It's very good news. All right, thanks, Dana.
Yep.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 5. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 at 6. And, of course, the latest from around the country ahead of Election Day next on the CBS Evening News.